and welcome to Mastermind with me, John Humphrys. In the spotlight tonight are Simon Dennis, a perpetual student whose specialist subject is the Trans-Siberian Railway; Jethro Waldron, a civil servant who's answering questions on dusty Springfield; Kate Ritchie is a retired physician, her specialist subject Grayson Perry; and Phil Welsh, a freelance copywriter whose subject is the films of Monty Python. Four contenders, and each of them can congratulate themselves on getting through the heats. But they can't rest on their laurels, because only one of them will leave tonight knowing that they are still on course to become the nation's mastermind. The same rules apply, of course, as the heats. 2 minutes on their specialist subject, 2.5 minutes of general knowledge questions. So let's get on with it and ask our first contender to join us, please. And your name is?
Simon Dennis.
Your occupation?
A perpetual student.
And your chosen subject?
The Trans-Siberian Railway.
A network of more than 5,000 miles of railway lines connecting Moscow with the far east of Russia. Here we go. Which lake in Siberia, near the Mongolian border and navigable for only 8 months of the year, presented a major obstacle to the completion of the route of the railway?
Baikal.
Yes, a British travel writer who was the author of The Big Red Train Ride once said the Trans-Siberian is the big train ride, all the rest are peanuts. What was his name?
Dubron?
Eric Newby. During the Russian Civil War and its aftermath, the chairman of the Revolutionary Military Council used an armoured train as his headquarters while he travelled around the country on the railway. Who was he?
Trotsky.
Yes. Which port city on the Sea of Japan is the final station on the Trans-Siberian Railway beyond Vladivostok?
Pass.
When Tsarevich Grand Duke Nicholas was appointed chairman of the Committee of the Siberian Railway, his former tutor was also appointed as vice-chairman to assist him. What was the name of the tutor?
Bunga.
Yeah. Which Chinese city became the headquarters of the Chinese Eastern Railway, the Manchurian section of the Trans-Siberian Railway?
Harbin.
Yep. The longest bridge on the Trans-Siberian is almost 1.5 miles long and crosses a major river near the city of Khabarovsk. Which river?
The Angara.
The Amur. At a world fair in 1900, the transport entrepreneur Georges Nagelmakers set up a demonstration of the luxury carriages he proposed to run on the Trans-Siberian Railway. What was the name of this fair?
Antwerp Exposition.
The Paris Exposition. Who was appointed the executive secretary of the Committee of the Trans-Siberian Railway when it was formed? He was responsible for the policy of resettling peasants from European Russia to Siberia under the auspices of the railway.
Bitter?
No, Kolomzin. What word meaning conductor is used as a term for the train attendants on the Trans-Siberian Railway?
Provodnaya?
Yes. During the 1907 Paris to Peking road race, one competitor drove along the track bed of the railway in order to complete a section of the route. Who was he?
Thatcher.
Borghese. Scipione Borghese. You had just the one pass, Simon. That port city on the Sea of Japan was Nakodka. And you have scored 5 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Jethro Waldron.
Your occupation?
Civil servant.
And your chosen subject?
Dusty Springfield.
Dusty Springfield. From 1951 to 55, Springfield, who was born Mary O'Brien, went to a Roman Catholic school in Ealing. When she returned there as a star in the 60s, a newspaper captioned a photograph of her as Dusty and her swinging nuns. Which school?
St Anne's.
Yep. She adopted the stage name Dusty Springfield when she formed the Springfields vocal group with her brother Dion in 1960. What stage name did he adopt at the same time?
Tom Springfield.
Yep. The Springfields made their last appearance as a group in a television variety show broadcast from a West End theatre in October 1963. Which theatre?
The London Palladium.
Yep. Springfield's first solo success in the UK came with the song I Only Want to Be With You in 1963. On which record label was it released?
Phillips.
Yep. At Christmas 1966, she appeared in a pantomime at the Empire Theatre, Liverpool. What was the title of the panto?
Mary King Cole.
Yes. Springfield's version of Son of a Preacher Man became a massive hit, but she admitted that she much preferred a later version by another singer. She said, "I listen to her phrasing and go, God damn it, that's the way I should have done it." Which other singer?
Aretha Franklin.
Yes. What was the name of the vocal group who accompanied her on several of her early solo releases? Its members included former members of the Vernon's Girls.
The Breakaways.
Yeah. Which song, originally an American top 10 single for the Young Rascals, gave Springfield a minor UK hit in 1970?
How Can I Be Sure?
Yep. In 1969, Springfield starred in her own light entertainment series for the BBC, in which she was introduced by the actor Valentine Deal. What was the title of the show?
Decidedly Dusty.
Yeah. Which American composer did she meet during a visit to New York in February '64? She was so thrilled by the experience that she claimed, "I was falling off my stool in ecstasy."
Burt Bacharach.
Yes. In a revival of her career in the late 1980s, she reached the UK top 20 with Nothing Has Been Proved, a song that featured in a film based on a 1960s political controversy. Which film?
Scandal.
Yep. Where did my heart land and where are the dreams I planned? Are two questions asked in the lyrics of a 1965 top 10 single by Springfield. What's the title of the song and the answer to the questions?
In the Middle of Nowhere.
Yes, exactly right. No passes, nothing wrong. You have scored 12 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Kate Ritchie,
Your occupation?
retired physician.
And your chosen subject?
Grayson Perry.
Grayson Perry, the British contemporary artist best known for his ceramic work. Here we go. What prestigious art prize did Perry win in December 2003? The judging panel admired his use of the traditions of ceramics and drawing in his uncompromising engagement with personal and social concerns.
Turner Prize.
Yep. What name did Perry give to his childhood teddy bear, whom he describes as the benign director of my childhood imaginary world?
Alan Measles.
Yes. In a series of television documentaries shown in 2012, Perry explores the English class system and the aesthetic choices of each class. What's the title of this series?
All in Best Possible Taste.
Yes. As an undergraduate, he studied fine art for 3 years at the Polytechnic. In which English city?
Portsmouth.
Yep. The piece that Perry recognises as his first real work of art incorporates ceramics, photography, sculpture and textiles and was created at the start of the second year of his degree course. What's the title of it?
Transvestite Jet Pilots.
Correct. Which English painter and satirist's works inspired Perry's series of 6 tapestries, The Vanity of Small Differences? They were produced as part of his exploration of the English class system.
Hogarth.
Yep. Perry's 2 monumental vases called Matching Pair, which represent each side of the Brexit debate, were bought by a museum and put on display at the end of March 2019 to coincide with the date that the UK was originally due to leave the EU. Which museum?
The Tate Modern.
The Victoria and Albert. In 2014, Perry collected his CBE from Prince Charles in the guise of his cross-dressing alter ego. What first name does he give to this alter ego?
Claire.
Yep. What title did Perry give his graphic novel published in 1992? The comic strip format includes the hero's discovery of sex and cross-dressing.
Cycle of Violence.
Yes. A 1983 work by Perry is an assemblage of scrap items and real chicken legs and was inspired by the fairy story of a Russian witch who eats children. What's the title of it?
Baba Yaga's Hut.
Yep. Which city in northern England did Perry choose as the backdrop to the first 2 tapestries in The Vanity of Small Differences because of the city's proud working-class heritage?
Sunderland.
Is correct. No passes, Kate. 10 points. And our final contender, please. And your name is?
Phil Welsh,
Your occupation?
freelance copywriter.
And your specialist subject?
The films of Monty Python.
Monty Python. Here we go. In Monty Python's The Meaning of Life, what's the name of the restaurant diner, played by Terry Jones, who orders everything on the menu mixed up together in a bucket and eventually explodes after eating a wafer-thin mint?
Mr. Creosote.
Yes, in Monty Python's Life of Brian, Brian finds out that his father was a Roman called Nautius Maximus. What is Brian's surname?
Cohen.
Yes. Who wrote the songs that were performed in Monty Python and the Holy Grail? He also played several parts in the film, including Paige crushed by a rabbit.
Neil Innes.
Yep. Who directed And Now for Something Completely Different, as well as the filmed sequences used in Live at the Hollywood Bowl?
Ian McNaughton.
Yep. Live at the Hollywood Bowl includes footage of an international philosophy football match between Greece and Germany. Who plays in goal for the Greek team?
Heraclitus.
Plato. The idea for Life of Brian is said to have originated during the promotion of the Holy Grail, when Eric Idle was asked what the team's next film would be. What answer did he give?
Jesus Christ, Lust for Life.
Lust for Glory. Which song from The Meaning of Life was nominated for a BAFTA in 1984? It lost to Up Where We Belong from An Officer and a Gentleman.
Every Sperm is Sacred.
Yes, who was an executive producer on Life of Brian and also had an uncredited cameo in the film. Reg introduces his character to Brian as the gentleman who's letting us have the mount on Sunday.
George Harrison.
Yes, who plays the witch in The Holy Grail? A villager, played by John Cleese, claims that she turned him into a newt, but he got better.
Connie Booth.
Yes, in And Now for Something Completely Different, which of the competitors in the Upper Class Twit of the Year show is a stockbroker in his spare time and has a tree as his best friend?
Gervais Brooks Hamster.
Nigel Incubator Jones. In The Holy Grail, King Arthur and Sir Bedivere discuss how sheep's bladders may be employed to prevent what?
Gout.
Earthquakes. During one of the miracles of birth scenes in The Meaning of Life, the doctors ask a nurse for more apparatus. They request the EEG, the BP monitor, and the AVV, as well as what other device?
The machine that goes ping.
Exactly, the machine that goes ping. No passes, Phil. You have 8 points. Well, some very high scores there. Let's have a look at all of the scores. In fourth place with 5 points, Simon. In third place with 8 points, Phil. Second place, 10 points, Kate. First place, 12 points, Jethro. So it is the general knowledge round now, and if there's a tie at the end of it, then the number of passes is taken into account, and the person with the fewer passes is the winner. And if they're tied on passes as well, then there has to be a tie break. So let's ask Simon to join us again, please. And you've got a bit of ground to make up here, Simon, but you've got 2.5 minutes of general knowledge in which to do it. Here we go. Cheviot, Romney and Herdwick are British breeds of which farm animal?
Goat.
Sheep. In the original edition of the board game Trivial Pursuit, the orange category combines sports with what other subject?
Leisure.
Yeah. In cricket, to complete an over, a bowler must bowl how many legitimate balls?
6.
Yeah. Which agency of the United Nations began a global vaccination program against smallpox in 1967? It led to the eradication of the disease.
WHO.
Yeah, World Health Organization. A food preparation technique in which the food is usually vacuum sealed before it's cooked and is then chilled afterwards is known by a French name that means under vacuum. What name?
Sous vide.
Yes, the song Uptown Funk was a UK #1 single in 2014 for Mark Ronson and which American singer?
Bruno Mars.
Yes, when he travelled at more than 662 miles an hour in the experimental aircraft X-1 in 1947, the American test pilot Chuck Yeager became the first aviator to achieve what feat?
Break the sound barrier.
Yep. Nicholas Breakspeare is the only Englishman to have held what religious office? He held it from 1154 to 1159.
Pope.
Yeah. Which 59 play by Lorraine Hansberry dramatises the struggles of a working-class African-American family living on Chicago's South Side? Sidney Poitier starred in the original Broadway run and in the 61 film adaptation.
A Raisin in the Sun?
Yes. Who succeeded Jeff Stelling as the main presenter of Countdown in 2012? He's also been an advisor to Lord Sugar on The Apprentice.
Nick Hewer.
Yep. How many years are celebrated in a sesquicentennial anniversary?
60.
150. Which chemical element symbol Na is short for natrium, the Latin name given to it by the Swedish chemist Berzelius?
Ammonia.
Sodium. A stately home near Woodstock in Oxfordshire was built for John Churchill, the first Duke of Marlborough. What's its name?
Blenheim Palace.
Yep. A 1934 opera entitled Lady Macbeth of the Mtsensk district was denounced in the Soviet press after an unfavourable reaction to it by Stalin. Which composer wrote it?
Borodin.
Shostakovich. What Afrikaans word is the name given to the policy of racial segregation implemented in South Africa from 1948 till the early 90s?
Apartheid.
Yep. Which Chancellor of the Exchequer introduced the so-called People's Budget of 1909? It was designed to tax those on higher incomes to pay for social and naval reforms.
Cripps.
Lloyd George. The completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart is a computer program designed to distinguish human input from machine input. By what acronym is the program known?
Capture.
Capture is correct. Yep. No passes, Simon. Your score has now shot up to 17. And now film again, please. And you start out with 8 points. 17, as we speak, is the score to beat 2.5 minutes in which to try to do it. Here we go. What popular children's game, originally called Pretzel, takes place on a large plastic mat with 24 coloured circles on it? The participants themselves act as the playing pieces.
Twister.
Yep. St. David's Day is celebrated in Wales on the first day of which month?
March.
Yep. Which teddy bear glove puppet and star of a long-running children's television show first appeared on screen in 1952? The original puppet was bought in Blackpool 4 years earlier by his first operator, Harry Corbett.
Sooty.
Yep. What turkey-like bird, the largest known member of the grouse family, is thought to take its name from the Gaelic for horse of the woods?
Ptarmigan.
Capercaillie. Which future Secretary of State did George W. Bush beat when he was elected for his second term as American president in 2004?
Clinton.
John Kerry. Emporio, Jeans and Exchange all feature in the names of clothing ranges launched by an Italian fashion house. Which one?
Versace.
Armani. Which American actress of the 1920s is known as the original It Girl? She often played characters who typified the flappers of the Roaring Twenties.
Clara Bow.
Yeah. In a poem of 1809 about the French Revolution, who wrote the lines, "Bliss was it in that dawn to be alive, but to be young was very heaven"?
Cooper Clarke.
Wordsworth. The British Field Marshal, who was appointed Secretary of State for War in August 1914, appeared on recruitment posters for the army, accompanied by the slogan, "Your country needs you." Who was he?
Kitchener.
Yeah. One of the best-known songs by the Beatles had the working title, Scrambled Eggs, until Paul McCartney came out with different lyrics. It was released as a single in America in 1965 under what more familiar title?
Yesterday.
Yes. What's the term for the fluid that was said to flow like blood through the veins of the gods of Greek mythology? It's usually described as colourless.
Nirvana.
Ichor. Which biblical figure, a nephew of Abraham, had a wife who was turned into a pillar of salt?
Lot.
Yes. What name from the Latin for no tree is given to the vast arid limestone plateau that extends for several hundred miles across southern Australia?
Tundra.
The Nullarbor Plain. Which actor who died in 2013 was nominated for a Best Actor Oscar 8 times but never won the award? His first nomination was for the 1962 epic Lawrence of Arabia. The last was for the 2006 film Venus.
Peter O'Toole.
Yes, Josh and Thomas Jefferson Snodgrass were among the early pseudonyms of the American writer born Samuel Langhorne Clemens in 1835. What pen name did he finally adopt?
Mark Twain.
Yes, he did indeed. No passes. Phil, you have scored 17 points. And now Kate again, please. And Kate, you start out with 10 points. You know the score to beat. Let's see if you can do it with your general knowledge. Here we go. The position of a point on the Earth's surface is most commonly defined in terms of 2 geographic coordinates. These are latitude and...
Longitude.
Yep. An internationally famous hotel in Singapore is named after the British administrator credited as the founder of Singapore as a port city in 1819. What was his name?
Raffles.
Yep. Most fish use their caudal fin, mainly for propulsion. What's the common name for this fin?
Tailfin.
Yep. In 1983, Dame Mary Donaldson became the first woman to be elected to which civic office?
Um, Attorney General.
Lord Mayor of London. What term, originally coined by Richard Dawkins in his 1976 book, The Selfish Gene, refers to an idea or theme that spreads through a group of people by imitation. It's now more commonly used to describe humorous pictures or videos shared online.
Meme.
Yep. A type of metal beam commonly used in construction is known as an RSJ. The letter S in this abbreviation stands for what?
Steel.
Yep. What's the name of the obsessive sea captain in Herman Melville's 1851 novel Moby Dick? He shares his name with the biblical king of Israel.
Ahab.
Yep. Which British comedian and actor, noted for his slapstick comedy, starred in the films The Square Peg and On the Beat? His 1992 autobiography was entitled Don't Laugh at Me.
Benny Hill.
Norman Wisdom. A Bob Dylan song from his John Wesley Harding album was a UK hit single in 1968 for the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Which song?
On the Waterfront.
All Along the Watchtower. While he was working at the University of Pittsburgh in the 1950s, the American physician Jonas Salk developed the first effective vaccine against an infectious disease sometimes called infantile paralysis. What disease?
Polio.
Yep. The comedy television quiz show Have I Got News for You began in 1990 with teams led by Paul Merton and which journalist?
Ian Hislop.
Yep. What ancient device for numerical calculation originally consisted of a counting board and pebbles? Its modern form comprises a frame with a series of beads strung on parallel wires.
Abacus.
Yep. Which French composer wrote the music for the 1957 opera known in English as Dialogues of the Carmelites?
Bizet.
Poulon. Which port city is the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo? It was previously known as Leopoldville.
Brazzaville.
Kinshasa. In a chess move that may be done only once in a game by each player, the king moves 2 squares towards the rook, which in turn passes over the king to occupy the adjacent square. What's the name for this move?
Knight's move.
Castling. No passes, Kate. You've scored 19 points. And finally, Jethro again, please. And Jethro, you start out with 12 points. The score to beat, if you're going to get through to the grand final, is 19. Here we go. Which woolen fabric with a checked pattern is often associated with Scotland, where different designs identify a particular clan? It's sometimes known as plaid.
Tartan.
Yeah. The internal angles of a square always add up to how many degrees?
180 degrees.
360. A major port city on the north coast of Australia is named after a famous 19th century British naturalist. Which city?
Darwin.
Yep. What's the title of the song from the musical Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat that begins with the words, I closed my eyes, drew back the curtain?
Any dream will do.
Yep. Which screenwriter and film editor, born in Nottingham in 1899, was best known for her collaborations with Alfred Hitchcock? She married him in 1926.
Alma Reville.
Yep. Green Eggs and Ham and Fox in Socks are among the many children's books by which American author?
Dr. Seuss.
Yep. What term for illegally distilled whiskey derives from the practice of making it at night to benefit from the cover of darkness?
Pochine.
Moonshine. Which sculptor, famous for his abstract bronze casts, was born in Castleford, West Yorkshire in 1898, the 7th child in a mining family?
Henry Moore.
Yep. An American scientist became the oldest person to be awarded a Nobel Prize when he was a joint winner of the 2018 prize in physics. What's his name?
Thomas Crick.
Arthur Ashkin. In many versions of a traditional English nursery rhyme, the names of 2 fruits are supposedly said by the bells of St. Clement's. Which fruits?
Oranges and lemons.
Yep. What name, derived from the Latin for acute, used to be given to a violent fever characterized by chills and sweating, especially when occurring at regular intervals?
Ague.
Yes. The exploits of a famous business entrepreneur include the first crossings of both the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans in a hot air balloon with his co-pilot, Per Lindstrand. What's his name?
Brunel.
Branson. Which play by Harold Pinter explores the extramarital affairs of the characters Robert, Emma and Jerry over a 9-year period? It was partly based on Pinter's own affair with Joan Bakewell.
The Caretaker.
Betrayal. What's the name of the series of manned Russian spacecraft first launched in 1967? They're now used mostly to ferry crew to and from space stations.
Sawyers.
Yep. The last British tennis player to reach the Wimbledon men's singles final before Andy Murray in 2012 did so in 1938, 2 years after Fred Perry had won 3 consecutive titles. What was his name?
Alan Bernard.
Bunny Austin, an American comic book writer who made a cameo appearance in many of the Marvel films of the previous 25 years, died in November 2018 at the age of 95. What was his name?
Jeff Smith.
Stan Lee. 3 islands in the Caribbean, all part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, are known collectively as the ABC Islands. The 3 are Aruba, Bonaire, and which other?
Curacao.
Is correct. No passes, Jethro. You have 22 points. Well, what a close contest. Let's have a look at the final scores. In joint third place, 17 points apiece, Simon and Phil. Second place, 19 points, Kate. First place, 22 points, Jethro. Which means, of course, that Jethro goes through to the grand final. Congratulations to him. And if you would like to be a contender in the next series, do go to our website, bbc.co.uk/mastermind, and you can follow us at Mastermind Quiz. And do join us again next time for more Masterminds. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
I thought I would feel less nervous, but I felt exactly the same. To be honest, I thought, why do I put myself through this? But it all worked out well in the end. The competition coming into this round was really stiff. Everybody has won a heat, everybody earned their place in this semi-final, and everyone really knocked me out backstage, actually, with their knowledge, both their specialist knowledge and, you know, their very wide-ranging general knowledge. So it was a very nerve-wracking experience being backstage. I think my friends and family will be knocked out. I think they'll be surprised in a very good way. I think they'll be very pleased for me, although they tell me that it's perhaps even more nerve-wracking for them than it is for me, so I'm not sure they'll be looking forward to going through it all over again. I would be delighted to become Mastermind champion. It's something that would mean the world. Like many people, I have been watching Mastermind for many years. The black chair is infamous. It would feel absolutely fantastic to win the show.